Hi everybody, welcome to this episode of our Dungeon Boss Hero Rune Guide. This has been something that I've been wanting to do for a while, haven't really pulled the trigger on it. I did promise it for the Hopper update though to kind of get things started. I do want to ultimately go through a lot of the common meta heroes and just go over some basic rune strategy for these heroes, just to kind of give a idea of what people are doing as far as rune structure, as well as my own take on things. When I think about Hopper, Hopper tends to be very versatile in terms of how you can rune her up. I will be honest, it is a lot different than the earlier days before the combat revamp. So just to point out, this rune guide that I'm featuring today as far as an attack build is nowhere near as potent as it was back a few months ago before the combat revamp took place. So with that being said, it is still viable. I do have a fairly solid strategy that I use with this particular rune build. So let's get a couple of things out of the way first in terms of how you're going to rune heroes. So because I haven't done many hero rune guides to start with, let's just talk about why you would rune a hero a particular way. In general, you want to have high attacking heroes on defense and high defense on offense. It sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but the thing is, the computer itself, or the PC AI, they don't really care about your streak or anything like that. So a lot of people will find that having defense on your attack team helps you survive and ultimately outlast your opponent. That's what a lot of these are, is outlasting your opponents, which is why we see a lot of teams that center around Lily and Echo and Gortusk and some other high defense and high health pool heroes. So Hopper is kind of in that same boat. She's certainly not a warrior. She's not a tank. She's not anything that's supposed to have high health. I have had a lot of success with the defensive build Hopper using predominantly damage reduction. That has gone a long ways. It has diminished a little bit since the combat revamp has nerfed the damage reduction a little bit, which is ultimately what led me to consider alternatives. That was further compounded by the fact that her epic now gives a bonus to both defense and attack and max health. So all of her core aspects that are necessary are going to be very crucial in terms of how you rune her. This gives you a lot of balance and a lot of flexibility to really do what you want with her. So to start with, when we look at the stats, I know you can see my attack on this screen here. She has an attack of 8,000. That's pretty good comparatively speaking. So by comparison, Shade, which is an attack monster, has 10,000, so 10,500. I have pretty much ruined almost all attack. But when we think of who's got beast mode attacks, Shade's usually at the top of the list here. Some of my other ones, I think I have a really potent Viperia right now. She's my shared hero, so I use that for people to use at their discretion. Just see what she's got. Her attack is only 7,000, and that's with attack, defense, attack, defense, crit, attack, crit, defense, attack. So not full-blown attack, but very attack-centric on Viperia, and she clocks in at only 7,000. So you know that I put the works on Hopper in terms of what I wanted to rune her as. So when we go back to the Hopper at the core, she is in general a very defensive-centric hero. The reason being is if you look at her rune loadout, she's got 2 blues in there. Blues in general are a defensive rune. It's extremely difficult, and I don't know that a lot of people have this particular rune, a double attack rune. I, in fact, didn't even have a second one. I looked through every single one of my heroes to see if I had another one, and I didn't. So I don't remember where I got this. It was part of an event, but there are very, very, very few double attack runes. So trying to get an attack-based Hopper is difficult because even if you look at the attack, it's still only 300 and 300 compared to something like 600 and 300. You're really missing out on basically 25% attack. And then if you can only have defensive stats, you're missing out completely. So if you can't go full-blown attack on your Hopper, don't feel too bad. You can find some precision runes that have attack on there if you didn't want to have a defensive stat on here. I chose to go with a really nice defensive rune on there as well, just to increase her health a little bit. But other than that, my purple runes and my green runes are attack-centric. So in general, she is going to benefit more probably from defense than offense. That being said, with her epic, though, she's getting naturally higher defense and higher health to start with, which allows you to play around with attack a little bit more. So my defense clocks in at about 4,000. That's not the greatest anymore. There's certainly people that are much higher, and then if you throw the Guardian Rune on there, it bumps it up a little bit too. But from what I found is when I use Hopper on teams, it didn't really matter too much if I had attack Hopper or defense Hopper, because most of the teams that you're going against are Solaris teams. And if you're not killing people, non-beasts in the first round, that Hopper mechanic doesn't matter too much anyways. So you're basically kind of buying your time until Hopper can stomp some corpses, which is going to mean a Hopper on your own team as well. As far as PvP defense goes, you can really go either route. I like to have her attack on PvP defense. For one main reason is it scares people away. Maybe not her in general. This is the team that I'm using right now. So Shade, Hopper, Grognog, and Solaris. And so far, only one person has attacked me with this defense. I've had it up for 3 days now. And the only person that attacked me was, shout out to my guildmaster, Jayshu. He's the only person that's attacked me, and he has actually defeated me. So props to him, but I'm not going to divulge the team to beat it just now because I want to see what happens and see if I can actually get some wins. The reason this team is particularly daunting is if you come into this team without a beast team, you're basically playing Russian roulette with Shade. Shade's going to choose to kind of poach whoever he wants, and then if he doesn't finish them off, a really high damage attacker, Hopper, is going to finish the job and really put them at a disadvantage right away in that first round. Whereas if you come in with a beast team, it's not as critical because Solaris has that protection. The same basic thing goes for when you use Hopper on PvP attacks, which we'll see in just a second here. The mechanic that I'm using to keep her alive, let's pick this one for example. It's a pretty common defense that we see right now. When I look at this team and I'm going to use my defensive team as an offense, I pretty much have to use Solaris. Once you get up to the leagues I'm in, Solaris is kind of everywhere, so you pretty much have to determine that. But the reason that I'm choosing Attack Hopper for this is not so much that she's dishing out a ton of damage, and we see that with the beast teams in general. I believe Grognog gives beasts a health buff, and I think Julius does too. There's a lot of free health going around when we have beast teams, and what I've been seeing is it doesn't matter how high of an attack you have with Hopper, that first kind of opening round turn really makes no difference at all anyways. And so we got damage reduction from Gortusk, and you can kind of benchmark how good the damage is based on Lily and Grognog, and Hopper just didn't do very much. So, and that's kind of what I'm expecting. I don't expect this one to be over in the first round or even the second round. In fact, I expect Hopper to fully get killed, and that's not a problem. I'm not saying I'm going to beat this particular raid, but I'm saying in general, Hopper as an attack Hopper is going to die before she's useful, because I can't really use her early anyways, because in turn 2, Solaris uses the Phoenix Feather anyways, and it's a waste. It's after that point that I'm ultimately looking at really cashing in on her, because it's her third ability that I'm ultimately interested in, which is that Soul Devour. And that Soul Devour is going to be used to ultimately help me out of certain binds here. Now, based on where I'm at right now, I know I'm going to get 2 turns before they do. I may ultimately just try and gank Grognog just to get him out of, or not Grognog, Gortusk to get him out of the picture. The real true threat for me at this point is actually Lily, because she's going to do her, I forgot what it's called, her second move, the one that gives evade. Man, I can't think of the name right now. But she's going to do that, and it's going to make things more challenging for the next couple of turns. But by going ahead and doing Spirit Link, I at least know that because I put a little extra work into Hopper, I'm pretty confident that Eat and Run with the fear on Gortusk is going to kill him. Whereas if you have all defense, it's possible that Eat and Run just really doesn't do much damage, even if there was fear. So this will at least save me one person. I'm going to lose my Spirit Link, and Shade's likely going to die, and so it's going to be up to Grognog to keep the team alive until Solaris can come back the next turn. And when you're going against Lily teams, and this particular team in general, it's a waiting game. So it's a matter of surviving long enough, and I know that at least by getting this out of the way, it's one less person that I have to worry about. But it's Grognog and his AoEs. That's the problem. So he's going to kill 3 people. Shade dodged, I think. But this is actually good, because now they're unlikely to kill my entire team at this point. Solaris will come back. I'm guessing Hopper's going to die as well. That's not uncommon. But I'll be able to revive them all back, and then we can kind of start fresh. So it's actually kind of a worst possible scenario is Hopper didn't die. And the issue that we have now is to basically take care of Grognog. He's got the evade, so there's nothing we can do other than to hope for it. Soul Devour, when we start using Hopper's ability, she's going to gain energy back anyways, so don't worry about that too much. But the whole reason that I use Attack Hopper so that Soul Devour can ultimately put the finishing touches on Solaris, because sometimes when Solaris has half health, if you can't kill her, she's just going to bring everybody back. If you can Soul Devour kill Solaris, that's going to be the key to winning a lot of matches. And in this particular one, probably not the best case. I'm forced to do this against Grognog because he's going to do that stupid AoE Frost Breath, and it's going to... It wouldn't surprise me if it kills Solaris outright. It may even kill my Grognog, so I need that to be a single target. If this doesn't hit, then there's nothing we can do about that. With the evade on there, I can't afford to wait another turn because of the sapping vines anyways. So we really got to make this one count, and didn't hit. So now we're going to bring back Shade. Solaris is going to die anyways. May as well make it on my own terms, and really it doesn't help me at all here now. So I'll throw a throwaway attack on Solaris just because I don't want to get hit with the one with nature, and it's likely going to miss anyway. So it'd be a waste for me to use my haunted past. But fortunately, Grognog was diseased, so it didn't hurt me too much. But the sapping vines are still out there. That's going to be an ongoing issue, and that's just Lily Teams 101. All right, so now the feathers are down on their end, but they're going to be coming back. So the real goal here is, can I kill any of them fast enough? To be honest, Grognog is the threat. Lily is a nuisance, but Grognog is the threat because he pumps out a ton of damage, an absolute ton of damage. So we're risking the high damage output of Shade versus the reflection of the one with nature. He's got really high defense, and then we got retaliation kill. So this is going to end up in a loss on our part. But the whole point that I wanted to make here was that I'm using Hopper to ultimately mitigate the Solaris threat. Now, obviously, with that particular defense, it wasn't going to work well. But for other defenses that aren't based around them, same one as usual. This one here is not even worth attacking. Sorry, Dirkbox, that's not worth my time. Something like this, where none of those except for Gortusk are beasts. This is a good way to dispatch Agnon early, because Shade's going to put the major hurt on him, and then Grognog with an attack, or not Grognog, Hopper with attack stats is going to likely finish off Agnon. Even if he has that, I don't know, maybe with the granite form, he's not going to die. I guess I shouldn't have spoke too soon, because Gortusk is going to protect him, so it's not really worth putting the hurt on Agnon just yet. But in the second turn, that's the big one. In the second turn, when Agnon is outside of his form, then we're actually sitting pretty good. So we'll throw some damage on these guys. Let it be as it may. Shade's going to do Spirit Link. That's going to happen. And he's going to Spirit Link Grognog. A little bit of a nuisance that Hopper died. I can sort of remedy that situation. So it's not a huge issue. Ultimately, the big issue here is going to be preventing Shade. I don't usually like using certain teams against Shade teams because of the spirit, not the Spirit Link, but the possession. And I absolutely hate when Hopper is possessed, but should have taken enough if I didn't take enough damage. So realistically, I should have just used Snow Day on the first turn, because then I could have purged the Spirit Link. But now I'm in for a world of hurt, because Shade is going to possess Hopper, and I don't like when that happens. So we'll try and put some damage on them, but it's not going to be a good one. Especially attack Hopper against me, and I didn't get a chance to use my feather. Try and do some damage here. And I don't think we're going to finish things up. Yep, there goes my shade. That's kind of how it goes. And then Solaris is going to come back and make my life miserable. That's that. And it's going to likely end up in just a quick... Can't even target Grognard. There we go. So it's probably going to end in a quick defeat at this point here, because Solaris is going to do Immolating Flames, or Immolating Fire, and bring back Agnon, and that's going to be that. So I know it's kind of boring at this point. This is kind of how PvP goes sometimes. It gets boring once your main attack mechanism bites the dust. So I'm not saying I can't win this one, because I know I can. It's just a matter of really good timing. This may, in fact, do it. Not quite. There's Solaris again. That's why people hate Solaris. But people that use Solaris love Solaris, and so on and so forth. But now it's going to be a nuisance, because Solaris will do Immolating Fire and bring back Agnon. Maybe not this turn, but maybe not at all. I'm fully expecting that to happen, though. If I can buy myself 3 turns, great. Then I'll take the win on this one. So I feel fortunate on this one. It probably shouldn't have been a win, but it's going to be. But it is what it is. All right, so getting back to the main topic at hand, Rune Guide for Hopper. You can see that she dies on PvP decks quite a bit. On PvP defense, it's important to have her usually go first, but if you're going to pair her with Shade, you want Shade to go first, because Shade is going to be the one that pumps out the damage, and Hopper's going to capitalize on that. So if you do put her on defense, try and pair with Shade. You're pretty much strong-armed in using Solaris these days, and then the fourth is kind of take your pick. I would ideally like to use Koros or Viperia here, but both of them are just so they're so vulnerable. Koros can get frozen with Gore-Tusk very, very easily, so I like to prevent that. And Viperia is just too squishy. She can't stand up in a long fight. So Grognard is as versatile as it gets in terms of attack and defense. But if you're looking at any other rune builds for Hopper, the only other thing that I could possibly suggest is if you're lacking in the Bulwark and Aegis department for your runes, you may want to think of something like a health build, partially because of the stat here. Allows you to gain max health on bite attacks. Now 75% of her abilities are bite attacks, so the first 3 attacks are bite attacks, and Soul Devour's not. So I don't know the exact percentage in terms of how much it gives. I don't put a lot of faith into additional attack, and to be honest, since the combat revamp, I haven't gotten on the health train just yet, with the exception of somebody like Lily, because I know that her plant growth works really well with large amounts of health. So I'm still more so defensive and damage reduction on Hopper, but I'm going to play out this attack-based Hopper for a while and see how it goes. Like I said, not many people are attacking me with this defense, just because it's too much of a risk for people's streaks, I think. They just don't want to risk Shade doing something atypical and then Hopper capitalizing. So if you're looking for a recommendation as far as rune builds for Hopper, my suggestion is for the 2 purples, use Bulwarks for both of them. For the 2 blue ones, use any number of the defensive runes that are out there, and then the green one, take your pick. If you want to get kind of creative with it, start throwing some of those ultra runes in there. You can use the Cleansing Regeneration blue rune. The purple one, you can use the Corruption rune. You can start using some of those if you like. But in general, if you're planning on using Hopper for your defense, or for anybody on defense, just put your best runes that you have available on her, and she's going to be good, partially because of her epic making her much more balanced. So looking at her core stats to begin with, her attack is 1100, her defense is 1100. So she's already very well balanced to start with. So you can see my attack outpaces my defense in the long run, but that's just how I built her. If you want to try and split things up, you could probably get close to probably like 5,000 or 6,000 for each of these if you're balancing out. And then I forgot to show, but her max health is 8,600. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight in terms of how you can use Hopper. Because she is a rogue, like I said, you can kind of use her however you see fit. She's not pigeonholed into one specific mechanic where you have to pretty much go glass cannon or just tank, for example. If you have any questions on mechanics or how I use her against certain teams, or even if you should, just as a point of reference, that first team that I attacked with Gortus, Lily, Grogdog, and Solaris, I would never use a Hopper team against that anyways. I would use the traditional meta team of Solaris and Furno and Lily and Agnon. That rips that team apart. So just because Hopper's better now, don't feel like you're compelled to use her at every single turn. That's what a lot of people get distracted with anytime we have hero updates or brand new heroes. They feel like they gotta use them at every turn, and that's just not the case. Still use common sense when you're doing PvP attacks. Keep your streak intact and just use the teams that have been proven to work over and over and over. Okay, so any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave them below. Otherwise, we'll see you again next time for the next hero.
Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting my channel. If you like this video, please show your continued support by hitting that like button, and be sure to check out both my YouTube channels for new content all the time. And always remember, peace is a lie, there's only passion. We'll see you next time.